What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Now this is one you guys have been asking for. Kyle, we're in front of the baby Niles.
We are in front.
Christian's got a bucket full of rats. I think you guys know where this is going. We're going to be doing a major croc feeding day of all large rats, so let's check it out.
All right, so surprisingly the the drone has really fired them up. So we were hoping to have a quiet corner over there with a couple, but right when Ryan started the drone up, they got this way. Now, which is funny because it's not like we've ran the drone a lot. You know, we pulled the wagon over here. They're used to that sound. They're not used to the sound of the drone, but something about it queued them up. All right, so let's just chuck a bunch over. Oh, seriously?
Airborne rats.
Look for them, guys.
Now, what have you noticed about them being in here? They're definitely a lot more brave, but what kind of changes between here and the tub?
I mean, I don't think they're as brave. I think they just have more space. You know, with the tub, they were very food motivated. They were very jumpy like this, but now they just have all this space to roam around. And even this is very, very temporary. So, you know, it's gonna be crazy to get them in something bigger. Now, obviously, I'd love to work with these guys and go in with them, but right now it is far too dangerous a situation, far too tight to really curb this behavior. And honestly, we're gonna need a lot of people to be able to start to get them to chill, because obviously their feeding response is extremely dangerous. And when you have 13 to 14 animals in here, you know, that's a lot of animals to kind of slow that and stop that feeding response. So I feel like these guys have definitely gotten much bigger in this enclosure, even in the short amount of time they've been in here. Now, obviously, that could just be psychosomatic, that it's simply just because, you know, I want them to feel like they're growing bigger. You know, they're doing more of what they're supposed to do in here and growing because of it. But time will tell. I mean, we did measure a couple, and once we move them, we'll measure a couple, even though I'm sure we can look back at the camera and identify which one was which, and we can see on the few that we did measure how much bigger they've gotten. But it also is a testament to not only, you know, getting them in the grass, but also, you know, maybe it's a beneficial to get smaller ones, you know. So what we want to do is set them up to where once they're done that hatchling phase, that we can put them into enclosures like this, that they can be on grass and have tons of space to really roam around. They can run, they can swim, they can, you know, dive, they can do all sorts of stuff that they were meant to do. And that's what we're gonna start building next. I mean, you know, this is just the start of it all, as you guys have seen. So there's a lot more that we're gonna be building to, you know, give these crocodiles the best life we can. All right. So we are back at the big salty enclosure. Now it's getting time to move him. I know we have been talking about it for months. I know you guys have been asking for months, but it is coming down to the wire. So honestly, guys, this will be the last time we try a test run to see if everything's working, and then hopefully next week will be the day. So we're gonna try to get him to come in. I know she'll come in. She's actually been really good. She's been hanging out in here because she knows this is a feeding area, and he's been coming in here. Now obviously it's a hot month, I've said it before, it's a great time for this because they're extremely food motivated. With the big crocs, you don't have to feed them all the time, but you know, they hold weight well, but they also get hungry decently quick too. So they're still food motivated, but it's not a dangerous level. They're just, you know, fat and hungry still. So we can at least, you know, get them conditioned, perfect time of the year, and then we will get them moved. And if there's any we want to breed next year, then it's a great time to move too, because it gives them a good 6 months to really settle in over there and then see what happens next season. All right, guys, so we took a bit of a break. He was being finicky, so we wanted to just kind of try and reset. So obviously, as you can see, it works.
You got them in.
I think the key is to let it get hot, let it get, you know, the afternoon time, and then also not do our dog and pony show of stringing them along. I think the key is her and firing her up. Now he was queued up to come in, so he actually came in pretty easily. He knows this is a feeding area, which is awesome, but she definitely helped entice him that much more. So she is a key to it, but he's also learned tremendously that, you know, it's just don't even mess with him at all out there, and everything is happening in here. So that's exactly what we will do when the time comes to really feed him. Now she is a crazy little girl. Let's see, watch.
Are you queuing up?
Yeah,
there he is.
Are you kidding me? Could you imagine, guys, any one of us doing that, trying to take food from this monster, and he will obliterate you and make you his food. Easy, easy, easy. All right. But I love how that giant rat is like silence when it hits him, because it's like a swish with how big he is, just falls right on his tongue.
He's gigantic.
He is.
As you can see, guys, I mean, his head is right here on the crate, so his head's tilted up. I think if they put it on the ground, it'd probably touch the crate, huh?
Oh yeah.
And then it could come all the way back here.
This is a 16-foot trough.
Look at where his tail is, guys. If you guys can see that. Not a whole lot of this 16-foot trough left. He kind of takes it all up.
So he's got some food in him. I don't want to put too much food in him. I want to make sure he's nice and food motivated. So what we'll do next is we will continue on our feeding tour and let them settle back in and keep this an extremely positive experience.
We're entering the splash zone. Orinoco's.
Orinoco's. So what's nice is we'll use Christian and I to help break up the group a little bit. And once he starts throwing rats in, I'm going to start throwing rats in.
They almost like didn't notice, like, oh, what's that? And how many rats do you typically throw in with these guys? Just
As many
handfuls?
as I can.
That one caught it.
Did she?
Yeah.
What's awesome too is they're doing exactly what they would do in the wild. They're fish eaters, so what they'll do is they'll sift around. And with the rats, when we throw them in the ground, they sink to the bottom, and they're doing exactly that. So they're sifting through the bottom and finding those rats.
You probably throw, what, like 30 rats in there?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think this is probably the most fun enclosure to feed.
Yeah, and it'll be so much more fun when we can actually get in there and work with them more. You know, that'll be a very fun experience. So we'll be able to work with these 4 girls and just get it to where it's a more positive experience for us and the crocodiles. I mean, it's still a very positive experience with them, but you know, they're bumping into each other and whatnot. So if we can curb that with selective training for each animal has each spot, then we can certainly make it a much more positive time for them as well as us.
Sweet. So what we got next?
I don't know. Professor? Yeah. All right, let's get over to the professor.
So now we got Professor coming up.
This is Professor.
And he's been getting really bold when it comes to jumping out of his enclosure.
Yeah. Well, it's the summertime. And he is certainly not disappointing. There.
Trying to curb the jump by dropping it early.
You saw that? Yeah. And he is good. He caught it. He's a good boy. The problem is, good. See how he's resetting, which is awesome to see. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, you missed it. Gotta be quicker than that. That was about down his throat.
Yeah. How many do you typically give him?
I usually try to do it in 3s. So this guy, I usually get about a dozen. He's definitely a candidate for rabbits and chickens and whatnot. Because he's so big, but right now, we're doing rabbits. Come on, bud. Come on. But as you can see here, we will be working on him.
I mean, you're standing on the crate, so that's
come on, bub. Come on.
hopefully getting him moved over to the other property soon. What do you think, Kyle?
He's a pretty croc. I'm excited to get him out and get him moving. I mean, this is a decent enclosure, but obviously, you know, we don't do decent around here. So
It's all or nothing.
all or nothing. So he's gonna be going into a much better enclosure soon, and then he will be going into a gigantic enclosure next year, as long as he gets along with his girlfriends, as long as everything's swell. Because I've heard some stories about these crocs that they're not the best behaved, but hopefully they can prove me wrong. I'll give them a clean slate, I'll give them a chance, and if they don't get along, then we got to separate them. But until then, we're hoping for the best. All right, guys, well, that wraps up yet another feeding video and getting close to moving day for the big salties.
Yeah, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Also follow us on Instagram and Patreon at Primitive Predators, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.